To install Flutter on your machine, the Flutter website has some detailed information on this, and you can check which OS you use. For my case, I use the Mac OS, and I'll just select that. For Mac OS, as you can see, you can download Flutter, then you can unzip it either using the terminal or just unzip it directly. Then after you do this, you can store it somewhere in your machine. In my case, I stored it inside user's user, then right here, it's right there inside that directory. So this is where you find all the packages for Flutter and what you have downloaded for that version of Flutter. Now after you do this, you have to run flutter.doctor to just see if what you've done has just worked. So I'll copy this and paste here. And after Flutter.doctor is completed, as you can see, it will show you everything that you need to install. It will show you the version of Xcode you are using, the version of Android Studio you are using, whether you have VS Code on your machine, whether you have any devices connected, and a whole lot of other stuff. And once you do this, you can then update where necessary so that you can run your first Flutter app. Now alternatively, you can get it directly from GitHub. You can just clone the repository, the stable version of it, and you can just clone that onto your machine as a folder, just like that. This is for advanced use cases, but if you're just starting, then you can just start by downloading Flutter, then unzip it onto your machine and you'll be done. For Windows, you pretty much do the same. You just go to the Windows section, download as well, then put it in a folder which does not require elevated privileges or does not contain special characters or spaces. Then you have to update the path inside environmental variables. Same thing with Mac OS, you have to update the path, and if you just follow this straight from the website, you get more information on this. Now after you're done, Flutter is now in your machine. Run flutter.doctor, check to see if your SDK is updated and what you need to add so that you can run your first Flutter app. Now let's look at setting up an editor. Now in my case, I use Visual Studio Code, so basically this is a project that I've already run called Test Flutter. Then you just make sure you have to have these extensions. Just go to the extensions part, then click on Dart, then download it or enable it, install it into your project and into your machine. You also look at another one called Flutter as well, then install it onto your project and into your machine. And once you're done with this, then you can start to develop Flutter applications using Visual Studio Code. Alternatively, if you're using Android Studio, Android Studio is pretty basic as well. This is the Arctic Fox version. Some versions you have to go to preferences, then look for this plugins, but in this case, in this version, it's right there. You just go on plugins, search Flutter, then after you search Flutter, you just install it. After you install Flutter, you search Dart, install it as well. Then after you install it, you are now ready to use Android Studio to develop Flutter applications. So this is how you install Flutter onto your machine. Now we'll move on to creating your first application.